What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Democracy manifest.
And he didn't appreciate the way he was handled.
See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
It took 6 officers to restrain him. His major concern was the meal he'd left behind.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Eventually, they had it.
All right, everyone. We're here. We're in the room. So we've got Benny Bones in here tonight. So it's going to be a good one. I thought we'd start off. That's some of the YouTube stuff that I look at regularly. So just insanity, which the world is at the moment. So, yeah, Sunday night. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. Benny's killer tattooer. So what were you watching? Just Google on YouTube, Democracy Manifest. It's amazing. It's comic genius. So, all right, I'm just going to invite Benny in and see if we can get him in the room. Now, he's doing this high tech. He's jumping in on his iPad tonight. So we'll see if we can get this to happen. Oh, here we go. All right, just bear with me as I do my nightly fumbling of, here we go. All right. So now, Benny, we're waiting. Come on, mate. It's Sunday night. Here we go.
Yo.
You're in, mate. You're in the house.
Man, I'm here.
Oh, it's nice. How's your day been, buddy?
It's been all right. Just, I don't know, what did I do? It's pretty, not much to do, eh? Like, just chill out and relax, yeah.
Yeah, nice. What'd you get up to last night, other than watching this stuff?
Yeah, I definitely watch you guys, and yeah, I'm just hung out with you. I don't know, can't do anything, so yeah.
Yeah, a few quiet ones.
Yeah, got a few more than just a quiet one, but
mate, my brother's in Vietnam, and I ended up like having an hour of power with him, just sinking beers on FaceTime. So it was good. It was fun. So mate, basically, yeah, just thank you for being involved in this little project and coming on tonight and everything. And you know, you've got an interesting story, and we'll touch through all the usual stuff and, you know, find out where you work and all that sort of deal. But I kind of always started off with, like, what was the first tattoo you ever got?
And it's kind of embarrassing, eh? Like I think I was 17 and I got some song lyrics, and it was it's like on the top of one of my arm, that arm.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was pretty nerdy and pretty bad, eh? Yeah.
Can you sing that for us?
Do you really want me to?
No. Yeah, cool. And who did that for you?
Roscoe from Living Canvas, which is where I ended up like doing my apprenticeship. So
cool.
Yeah, and so I kind of was going there, you know, getting a few little tattoos sort of thing. So yeah.
What were you doing work-wise before you were a tattoo artist?
I did. I worked in like car yards, and I worked on the door at Cherry Bar in the city as like a bouncer.
Cool.
Yeah, I was sort of going to art school, but kind of wasn't really liking it, and then I just kind of went, you know, I just got over it and thought I'll go have a go at tattooing, and it's what's happened.
Yeah, nice. So what was the, obviously getting over that, did you approach the guys out at Eltham and Roscoe, or did they offer it to you, or how did that all come about?
So I apprenticed under Scott Boyes, who was working at the time. Yeah. And,
awesome.
I went in there to start getting a sleeve done by him, and I sort of thought, oh, maybe I just like throw my hat in and just go, you know, like, can I get some pointers? Like, I wasn't necessarily asking to work there or anything, but I just was like, can I get some pointers as to what I need to do, or, you know, like, can I come show you my drawing sort of thing? And which is pretty bad, like, when I look back on it. But it was more of kind of going, oh, I wanted some sort of direction of how to get into it, and he just sort of said, "Oh, you know, come and hang out here and sort of, you know, come in on Sundays and you know whenever you can, and just sort of watch." And I sort of did that, and after a few months, he goes, I just woke up one morning and I got a text message saying, "As of today, you're like Living Canvas's apprentice," and I was like, "Oh, you know, sweet."
Awesome. Awesome. That's amazing. How did you end up going to that shop? What, were you living in the area, or had you heard of it? Like, what was the initial connection?
So I was living in the area of, like, I moved originally from New Zealand, and I moved over here like just before I turned 17.
Yep.
And I went to school out in that way, and you know that lived out that way with my parents, and you know, that was the shop in the area that everyone went to, and I'd gone there a couple of times, kind of thing. So it was just sort of the connection of, you know, where else would I go, you know? So yeah,
cool. Yeah, and like, you know, you built up a rapport with them, and that's like, you know, when a lot of people, it's probably a similar response. Like, a lot of people, when they're asking, like, how do I start, what do I do, you sort of just say to them, well, go to a shop, get tattooed, become familiar with the artist, build up a rapport. And that sounds like exactly what happened, you know, with you. Yeah,
for sure. It's I mean, it's pretty hard to walk in cold, like, you know, on both sides, you know. Trust me, like, the tattooist going, well, I don't know you, like, what would I, like, take you on? Or, you know, you got to, there's like a bit of a hazing period or something where you kind of sort of figure each other out, and if it's the right sort of dynamic in place for you. And yeah,
totally. So what was your, like, apprenticeship like?
It was pretty, I don't know, like, pretty normal, I guess. Like, I was just eager to do it, and I think it was just like, you know, like, I didn't get treated badly. I didn't sort of have any sort of bad stories about anything. Like, you know, like, I'm still good. I'm like friends with all of those guys still. So it's
amazing.
not like, it's not really, I don't have any sort of bad stories about an apprenticeship. It was just like, all right. I think I started tattooing friends and stuff, like, before, like, I didn't do pigskins like other people did, and I don't know, I didn't tattoo myself. Like, I just had mates coming into the shop, and I just started tattooing them, kind of thing. Like, you know,
cool.
For free.
And obviously, just pretty versatile. Like, you know, starting off as like a street shop style artist, doing anything and everything that came through the door, and
a lot of writing and a lot of Southern crosses. Which is fun.
Mate, they're lettering, you know, is actually difficult, and, you know, even Southern crosses, man, like, they got to be technically on point. You know, there's really no room for error.
Yeah, like doing stars, when you're doing them, you know, something like yay big, and then
you're
doing all these stars with perfect points and everything like that, and it teaches you how to tattoo pretty quickly. So
totally. So what was your what were you getting tattooed on yourself at that stage as well? Like, were you starting to branch out and get tattooed by other tattoo artists outside that shop dynamic, or starting to go to conventions?
Well, it was like, I don't know, it was 15 years ago kind of thing. There weren't really conventions in the way that they were, the way that they are now, you know, like at the PTAA ones, like at the Seagull, which, like, you know, like, went down to that sort of thing. That was the first convention I went to, and it was just a room in a, you know, hotel kind of ballroom sort of thing, and it was, you know, maybe 10 people actually tattooing, and the rest were just standing around drinking and having fun, and there's a big dinner and everything, and, you know, that was cool. But, like, there's no sort of convention sort of thing. It was just, I was just getting just kind of little tattoos, but I knew I wanted to get a lot of tattoos, I guess, and that was why I sort of thought about getting into tattooing. It was like, well, I want to get a lot of tattoos, but I didn't have a plan or anything. I was like, if I become a tattooist, then people at the shop will tattoo me.
And the door really opens up.
Yeah,
cool.
And then, you know, I think after a little while, I started sort of like looking outside the shop, and I got tattooed by sort of Steve Cross, and then other people, you know, little things on my legs and everything like that, and then, you know, kind of like escalated from there, I reckon.
Yeah, cool. So starting, say, 15 odd years ago, you would have seen, you know, the change of when, you know, MySpace came along, Instagram came along, and, you know, things started to, you could, like, connect with other artists, you know, from all over the world a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. And it's probably still not something that I'm like very savvy on, but like, it's
Yeah.
yeah, like it was just a tool to kind of for people to kind of message you at the beginning. It wasn't really your folio that it is now, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely before all that stuff started. So yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And
like, how long did you end up staying out at Living Canvas for?
I think it's about 5 years.
Yeah, nice. A good stint.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like they sort of had this handshake thing. It was like, you know, if we're going to teach you, we sort of expect you to stick around for this sort of long. And
Yep.
you know, it's like I wasn't sort of jumping to get out of there or anything. It was just like I got offered a job by like Steve and Brian from Corpus, and I just went, well,
Yeah, cool.
that's just sort of the next thing I want to do. So yeah.
Yeah,
And
and that's cool. Like you said, you're still on good terms with them all, and you know, like the old world, the handshake deal, and it is like, you know, if someone's like you said at the start, they're going to invest all this time in you, you know, like it's a good stint. They want to get something back as well, you know, and they want to, yeah.
Well, you owe them something that, like, you know, they've given you this sort of like really precious thing, really, and it's like, you don't want to burn bridges and shit. So
yeah. It's you're going to see some comments coming through as well. So Stu's just said, "I bloody love you guys." Alvaro said hi. Jeremy says hi, Uncle Benny. So also tonight, mate, you feel free to jump in and answer any of the comments and that sort of thing, and you know, go from there. So then you moved to Corpus, and was that around the time that Corpus was beginning, or it just still a pretty new shop?
No, so it'd been gone for a few years. Like I think sort of Mick Squires and that. Or Mick Squires had left and everything. Like I sort of like was that sort of second sort of wave of stuff with like I started there with Claire at the same time.
Yeah, cool.
And we're in the original shop. I think it was there for I don't know, maybe a year or two or something like that, and then moved over to where it is now. But yeah, look, I wasn't there at the beginning or anything. It was quite sort of developed and everything by the time I went over there. Yeah,
cool. What was your sort of style? Like, what were you starting to specialize in a style of tattooing then? Like, you know, moving towards sort of, you know, the Asian, Oriental, Japanese stuff, or? Yeah,
kind of like I think around the time that I was at Living Canvas, that's like you know, Japanese sleeves were quite popular. Like, you know, it's a suburb shop, and you know, like a lot of guys were coming in wanting sleeves and everything like that, and it sort of it translates well. Like I just want to get coverage, and besides getting that sort of, you know, tribal stuff that was sort of Japanese, and you kind of I sort of always was interested in Japanese art from like just going through books and seeing wood blocks and everything like that, and then I kind of just it was just like a progression, I guess, of like I didn't sort of go, I'm definitely gonna you know, focus on this. It was just it was organic and what was always going to be like happen, I guess. Or,
and I think, you know, clients as well, say someone comes in and gets one Japanese sleeve, it's probably 8 times out of 10 they're going to get another one. They're not going to get a black and grey sleeve or a Polynesian sleeve or something like that. And I also think, you know, there's, especially with Instagram, but there's that much imagery out there already that people subconsciously know of a Japanese bodysuit. So it's sort of like you were saying, it does lend itself to larger coverage. You know, that's like I remember as well, like even back then it was probably like full sleeves weren't as popular as they are today. It was probably like a half sleeve, and then they might want to creep down to 3/4 and then a full sleeve, and you know,
line went to, and
But that's
a lot of buddies, and they was like, I don't really care. But then, you know, you'd have people that would get like, well, I guess when I first started getting my sleeve was just a half sleeve, and that was just what people got. And then it was like, it was a big sort of, do I really want to go down to my sort of wrists? And remember going down, like getting the outline of the sort of second part of it and coming home or seeing my mum and her just crying, going, what have you done?
Yeah, you've ruined your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my mum crying at the end of my bed one time as well. Like, you know, I had half sleeves and yeah, like Gummy was talking the other night when he got his neck done. You know, he told his mum on the phone and she broke down crying. It's, you know, and back then as well, it was like, you know, someone with full sleeves, it was not as common as today. It was, you know, and I know myself when I crept down, it was a huge deal, you know, where now it's just because it's so mainstream. It's like, oh yeah, a sleeve. There's not the stigma or anything sort of attached to it.
No. And I guess, you know, when you're surrounded by it all day and every day and, you know, you go somewhere in an area that maybe it's like you see someone that you realise is looking at you because of it, it's like, what is this person looking at? And it's like, oh, your tattoos. So,
yeah.
So what does it matter, you know? It's like everyone I know has tattoos. So,
yeah. So when you were at Corpus, who was there? Because you were there for quite a few years as well, weren't you?
I was there for about 4.5, 5 years or something like that.
Yep.
So it's like me, Alvaro, Claire, Brian and Steve, Ozzy was there.
Yep.
Other people kind of came. Andrew was there for a bit. Sam Siriani. She actually was working at Living Canvas when I was doing she was working at Living Canvas when I was doing my apprenticeship, and then she kind of thought I was going to head off, she was going to leave, and so I was like, I'll come work at Corpus. So she came along there, which was cool.
Yeah, cool.
I don't think there's anyone else. Probably
How did you find, say, coming from a suburban shop, you know, to, you know, closer to the city? Was there a big difference in clientele or that sort of stuff?
Definitely a difference in clientele. Look, but I think over the time I've just sort of maintained this. Like when I first got there, I wasn't overly busy or anything like that. But then, like over that time, I've kind of just maintained this type of clients that I kind of have. It's like my clients are generally tradies, generally kind of, you know, young guys, or, you know, like they just want to get, you know, big coverage kind of thing. But there wasn't that really coming into the shop at that time. Whereas I think clients have sort of changed where they kind of, you know, they sort of seek people out more now. They're sort of wise to what's going, well, you know, rather than just going down to the shop down the road, you know. So I think that's why I've kind of collected that, you know, sort of typical clientele, because it's like they see what I'm doing and it sort of suits them, like, you know, rather than just whoever walks in off the street. Yeah,
because it's in Brunswick. Actually, one of the first shops I worked in was on Sydney Road in Brunswick. Probably, I left Australia in '95 to go overseas. So I was there from probably maybe '93 to '95, and it was above the Club X adult bookstore. And it was, you know, Brunswick was quite different back then. It was still pretty crazy. So, but and it's But yeah, with all that, like I imagine around then you probably started, because conventions would have came on the scene then a little bit more in that period of time. So I imagine you kind of started to do a few conventions either on your own or with the shop.
Yeah, with the shop, the first one I did was the one in New Plymouth.
Oh wow!
And and I think that was the second one that they had. So and I went over with the shop and you know, did that. I think. Like when I started working at Corpus, it was definitely like the whole shop would do like whatever convention was, like, you know, in Melbourne, or, you know, we'd sort of, you know, go off and do other ones in sort of other cities and stuff like that. So it was actually just a thing of that's what we do kind of thing. So that was really cool, and that was sort of eye-opening and, you know, and fun, because originally, like when I was like at Living Canvas, they were kind of like, you know, I'm not really interested in it, but like, you know, But cool. I guess like now they do it and stuff. But
and like you said, you know, back then that was sort of, there was the transition from the yearly PTAA one to, you know, the rites of passage, and then, you know, tattoo expos. They started coming, you know, on the scene a lot more, and I think, you know, with Instagram and everything, people just doing guest spots more. You know, it's probably a time where pre-licensing issues in in Queensland and New South Wales, so you could travel a bit more freely.
Well, yeah, I guess that even still, as it stands, like I don't have my license for New South Wales or Queensland, which is something I guess I'm going to have to do.
Yeah.
But the only way to do that, like the conventions, is to, or the only way to go and tattoo up there is to do the conventions, because you kind of slip in under there. I know, like different licensing kind of laws for a convention. So yeah, I enjoy doing them. I think like some people hate them, but it's like conventions like heaps of fun for me.
Yeah, mate, I like them. Like I think was it maybe a year or two, or probably 2 years ago. Like we saw each other at the Wellington convention in New Zealand. That was amazing. And and I've seen you up here in Sydney and other conventions around the traps, and I like them too. They're good. Like you see people you haven't seen for a while, you make new friends. It's and if you got the right mindset, they're a great thing. Like you have a lot of fun afterwards, and it's just a real good thing.
Yeah, I definitely love them. It's a social aspect. It's the time I guess like what you were saying before, social media and stuff like that. Like a lot of my friends that I'm close with live, different states or different countries, and you all sort of come together for these sort of 3-day benders.
Yes,
tattoos and carry on like idiots, and then it's like you get this kind of like concentrated sort of like hanging out with people, and then you like go away for a few months and then wait for the next one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a 3-day of mind, body, and soul exploration and improvement. It's they're great. They're great. Yeah. So at Corpus, were you a court? No, you worked with Mayo at Tattoo Magic. That's correct.
No. Mayo came. Mayo came over at Corpus. He left Tattoo Magic and came over to Corpus for a year or something like that. So it was with he was there while he was there. I mean, he was friends for years, and he like tattooed me when I was still out at living canvas and stuff like that. So nice. And then after your time at Corpus, you moved to Tattoo Magic, which is where you still are today. Still are there, yeah.
No, how did that come about?
I think things are sort of changing. Brian, like at Corpus, like Brian sort of sold his share out of the shop, and it was just I just sort of felt it was my sort of time to go. And but like obviously knowing like Tennille had left to go to Tattoo Magic. Obviously she's like married to Geordie, and I've been friends with Geordie for a really long time. Like when I was working at bars in the city. Yeah, cool. Like I knew Geordie, and like we'd hang out all the time, and he was like, "Why don't you come work here?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, like, I'm working, with my mates and everything like that." And I was like, I just sort of feel like you're saying, "Oh, come work here because we're mates." And he goes, "No, I actually want you to come."
Geordie's kind of like the unofficial ambassador for Australian tattooing on the world circuit, isn't he?
He's the one that you see everywhere but never doing a tattoo. Just
networking.
Pestering me usually.
So that's cool. So then you obviously you had your own clientele and that sort of thing, and I imagine Corpus was like an open floor plan. Yeah, and now Tattoo Magic is like you've got your own little separate rooms. Is that correct?
Individual booths, So individual booths, which is like I've kind of really enjoyed it, but like it is quite. My room's tiny at the moment, but it's I think clients quite like it, but it makes it hard when say guest artists or friends come down from interstate and everything like that, and they want to come and work, and it's like, well, there's not a bay because you can't just sort of shuffle someone along and sort of make room for them. So, that's probably the downside to having individual booths. But it is nice. I think like clients generally do like it.
Yeah, a little bit more privacy and
intimate and
cool. But I think you've got like little windows that connect. Is that correct? Some of them.
Yes. You can't see straight down, but in between each booth is like a window and stuff. So there's a lot of, I don't know, like there's a lot of banter that goes on at Tattoo Magic and yelling and screaming at each other.
And like Tattoo Magic is like a legendary shop. Like believe it was originally started off by Gary Mooney, who recently passed, unfortunately. And, you know, like even when I was in Melbourne, like I left Melbourne 95 and it was around then. So it's got to be, what, 30-year anniversary or?
I don't think it's quite 30, but it's like, it's 20, I'd be 25 or 26 years old or something like that. Like at that, the place on Gertrude Street.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it still has an amazing crew, but like, you know, some of the best have gone through Tattoo Magic over the years. It's got a phenomenal reputation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, you know, what's sort of like your work week like when you can work? Are you like pretty structured?
Yeah, I sort of kind of because I've got my own bay and everything. I sort of float around and I just sort of work when I want, like what days I want to sort of fit in with my clientele for the most part. Like, you know, it's I sort of try and do, you know, 4 or 5 days a week kind of thing, and you know, just kind of cruise a little bit. Like, don't sort of overstress myself, especially at the moment with all of this stuff going on. It's like you sort of burn out, and then you have lockdown. It makes it 10 times worse because you're not actually enjoying the time you can go and do things because you're working all the time, and then so it's trying to figure out that it's sort of like life and work balance is extremely difficult with all this kind of thing. It is anyway for any tattoo.
Yeah, that's the endless struggle, that one, the work-life balance deal. Just on a note on the whole lockdown issue, like you guys are like the world champs with 5 lockdowns now.
Yeah.
Like there can't be any more, man. This is ridiculous. So how have you maintained your sanity throughout these times?
I think, like in the big one that we had last year, I found it really difficult to kind of be creative and paint and draw and everything like that. Like it was like, which is like kind of the first time in my life that I really did actually struggle with that. Like, it was, I don't know, it was quite, it's pretty bad actually. Like, kind of dealing with it all. And I live in my apartment on my own, and you know, I kind of just was sitting there one day, I was like, fuck it, I'll just like paint the apartment. Just like through the lockdown, just painted every room in here, and it's like it's a decent size, like 3-bedroom kind of thing.
Hey, do you want to give us a bit of a tour?
Oh, I can do on tour.
Yeah, mate, people actually love it. Like, if you can show us your little art area and you know, like some of those paintings you did.
I haven't got any paintings of mine up, but yeah, I'm in the sort of room. I still haven't actually moved everything in here yet. But We'll go and show you Opie, my dog.
Nice. Nice. Mate, that's one of my questions I've got later on to round this up. It's like, I've got like, what are your favourite things and what's your favourite dog? And I think we're going to find out now.
Yeah, there he is. Wait. Blind and...
Oh, amazing. How old?
He's 10.
Wow, it's a good run. Look at him. What a little beast.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I guess, you know, having Opie with you as well is like a comfort, and you can do your daily walks and all the rest of it. Yeah.
He's blind as now, and it's like you have to constantly watch him. Like he just sort of walks into everything, and it's kind of like, But he's all good. He's happy. So
yeah. I see some of the comments through here, like Opie's got a bit of a following.
He does. Yeah, everyone loves Opie.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So with when you came out of that big lockdown, what was the work situation like? Did it just pick straight up where it left off and like busy and all the rest of it, or was it, you know, a bit sporadic?
No, it's flat out. And like, I guess I found it hard to get back into work too, because obviously you're kind of not doing anything, and all of a sudden you're flat out and like, you know, trying to draw. And I had a lot of people kind of I sort of picked up a lot of work through it too. Like I think it was quite condensed, like rather than, you know, like I usually get, you know, a person a week or something like that with a big piece of work for me to start, and all of a sudden it was just like I was like, you know, drawing sort of 2 legs a week or 2 back pieces a week, and it's just kind of like trying to sort of maintain like that like, and yeah, it was pretty difficult, but yeah,
yeah, just sort of like gone
fun
from
too,
nothing to like full on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like, it was also quite, it was good, it was challenging, and it was kind of like, you know, my work, I think, definitely kind of went to, like, it took another turn too, like, like sort of, you sort of had to kind of, you just constantly kind of like drawing everything, which was good, cool, but yeah, it was also burnt me out a bit, eh?
It's a hard one, isn't it? It's all like feast or famine style stuff. Like, yeah, we were quite similar up here in Sydney. It was just like for a period of time, like, you know, I'm looking at all the shop emails, and for weeks on end, there's nothing. And then they've gone, all right, you guys can open up in a couple of days. And it's like all of a sudden the next day, there's still nothing. And then the day after, just like, they're all coming through. And I'm like, oh, we're going to be all right, you know? So.
We always have a period down here, and I've spoken to other mates like that are up in Sydney, and that like through around sort of Christmas time, everyone's flat out till Christmas, and then after that, like it just completely dies off until like not completely, but you know, until sort of after all of this like holiday periods over, and all the, like, you know, bank holidays and state holidays are done, like it should kind of last until Easter sometimes. Like it's generally quite quiet, and you get a lot of people cancel, but this year was just like going the whole time, and you know, summertime, you're like, oh, I want to hang out, but
yeah, totally. I think there's definitely, I think, been a shift in the, maybe in the psychology of clients as well in general. Like, you know, I know as well, people can't travel, so, you know, us here in Sydney, some of our biggest competition is actually like Bali and Thailand. So people can't go over there and get tattooed, can't really travel. And I also think about, you know, with all the restrictions and everything, like, you know, you can empower yourself through getting tattoos, and there seems to be a lot more bigger work going on as well. It's like there's been a bit of a mental shift in people. If they were a little bit conservative before, it's like these lockdowns, they've just gone, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do everything I wanted to do now, and I'm not going to worry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, and the whole not traveling thing, and you know, it's like, well, you know, whatever they had on the cards coming up, like, you know, a big sort of Europe holiday they're going to spend 10 grand on or something. It's like, well, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So you know, you still want to do things that, like, that you enjoy, and, you know, create memories. And I guess, you know, tattooing is something that does that, you know, and something you keep on you forever. So
totally. Yeah, totally. So just touch on traveling, because I know you've traveled quite a fair bit, and you've done a lot with Geordie and Stu. Because I think from what I've seen and known, like you've been to Russia, the UK. Where else have you sort of traveled with that crew?
So Geordie and I went to Russia. Obviously not last year, like the year before. Did the Moscow convention. And that was just kind of like, I think I did an application a year or two before that, and I was like, I was actually in Canada with Tennille, and we'd done the Montreal convention, which is awesome, and like you know, and Stu was there as well, and like heaps of other mates, and like had an absolute ball there. And I was like, as I was sitting on the plane like to fly home, I checked my emails, and it was like, you've been approved for Moscow convention, and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And I just messaged Geordie, and I was like, do you want to go to Russia and do a convention?
Wow.
He replied just as the plane was sort of taking off, going, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Like,
mate, tell us about that. Like my vision of a convention in Moscow is like something like a scene out of Triple X the movie, with like Rammstein playing and just like crazy people everywhere.
Man, that's exactly what I thought too. And I was actually quite upset that it wasn't this massive culture shock I thought it was going to be. Like,
okay.
I was a little bit disappointed I didn't get kidnapped, and I like tried really hard to get myself into a lot of trouble, and it didn't really work. But man, it was like, look, like honestly, like one of the most like just fun, like just and like just different places to, like, my preconceived idea of the place was just not what it's like at all. Like, it's pretty amazing. Like, you know, you're walking you're walking through the streets and it's just huge buildings and concrete, and you just feel like this like tiny insignificant thing, and it's like, pretty insane. Like, the people were lovely. Like, you know, hung out with Max Titanic over there. Everyone met heaps of people at the convention, and you know, made some good mates from that. And the convention overall, like a lot of the international guys like weren't flat out tattooing and stuff, but it was more of it was just like the experience was more of it than actually going and busting your ass to like make money sort of thing. Like,
just immerse yourself in the culture. So someone's just asked CSY what happened in the hotel hallway in Russia? Pass.
I woke up and thought I was at my house. I had still knocks and I sleepwalked.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That happens. That happens on the big trips.
Hey.
That happens on the big trips.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know. So, but like Russia's got so many good tattoo artists, and it's, you know, from black and grey to, you know, traditional, but also Japanese. Were there any really cool like Russian Japanese style tattooers you met or you admire?
Well, like Max Titanic was one. Like he actually contacted me just before we were getting there, and I was like, I'm going to be in Moscow. Like, if you want to hang out, his stuff's insane. Like, I've sort of been like looking at that, you know, for years, looking at his work for years, and he was awesome. But I think like it's definitely different over there when you like Geordie and I ended up judging on one of the contests, and like you know, quite a few people coming up like and showing us the work, and this skin is just so different from what we have in Australia and New Zealand. Like, it's not sunburnt and kind of leathery, and you know, it's this pale, nice, beautiful white skin that just like lends well to like color saturation, and you know, it's like I was sitting there just going, far out. Flawless. Like, it's like to do that sort of work here is like you got to sort of pass the color like 2 or 3 times, you know.
Yeah, so. and then like you know, if the customer's going to look after it, you know.
I mean, you know, for the most part, like my clients are tradies and stuff like that, and they'll go like jump on, you know, work on a roof the next day.
Totally. We got similar up here too.
Yeah, everyone wants to go surfing up there. At least in Melbourne, you don't get that as bad.
With did you obviously banged out a few tattoos while you were over there on that trip?
Yeah, I did. I think I did like 2, like 3 or 4, like just kind of little ones, sort of not sort of anything that big or anything like that. But
cool.
Like people didn't really have the money, Like, it wasn't like the conventions here where, you know, there's like people running around buying prints and spending a lot of money, you know, like, you know, for the convention. It was just, but they'd obviously just go there to kind of see what was going on. Like, but
what was sort of like an hourly rate over there?
I can't even remember.
Yeah, right. All right. The big question that I know everyone's wanting to know is, did Geordie do a tattoo at that convention?
Nah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Geordie tattoo at a convention. He's been to a lot with me.
Mate, he's been to so many. Like, man.
Geordie just wants to, you know, like run around and sort of talk to people and do all that sort of, you know, that's what he goes and does. And that's, you know, like, fine. Like, but like he'll just go, oh no, it's too hard. I can't be bothered. It's like hang out and drink beers and talk shit. So
mate, where else did you guys go? You've done, like you mentioned, Canada, New Zealand. Did you work at any in the UK or anything?
So I've done the Brighton convention twice with Stu. Which that was cool. The first time we went there, it's like, went over, like did that was the first time we went there. It was awesome. We just I didn't book anything in. I just had some flash sort of done up, and I was flat out the whole time and just absolutely loved it. And then it was just the two of us that time. And the time after that, we went over there. I don't know. I think you were supposed to go on that one, weren't you?
I was, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a booth and everything. I was, coming with you guys, and then I can't even remember why I didn't go.
I think the shop was moving or something.
That's right. Yeah, I had to move shops. Yep.
Yeah. And there was this kind of Australia, New Zealand kind of corner of like, put us all together. Like,
awesome.
We just sat there and carried on. But it was when the Brexit stuff had just kind of like happened, and it wasn't. Yeah, like I didn't sort of tattoo. I did still do quite a lot of tattoos, but like it just if like there's a lot of people not turning up to appointments or and it just was like visually you could tell that there was quite like a few people less, So but yeah, it was still fun, obviously.
I got a feeling like obviously now with the London convention not going ahead now, I think Brighton's got a good chance of becoming one of the stronger ones or the strongest one in England. So time will tell.
It's a fun place to go to too. Like it's a pretty gnarly like little. It's a city, I guess. Yeah. City.
Brighton's wild, man. It's
pretty wild, eh?
Yeah. So you mentioned Canada. Have you done more than one convention over there, or did you travel around there as well?
No, I went over with Tennille and Stu, and like we all met up there, and like Matt Curzon and those guys. And,
because the Canadian one had loads of Aussies going over. Hey.
Yeah.
And from New Zealand,
That's like, cause like that is comparative to me with like New Plymouth. New Plymouth is like I love going there because it's like well back home, but Montreal was sort of same thing. It's like really they look after you and like makes you sort of feel real welcome, and we got treated really good and had heaps of fun. Like Montreal was like loved it. It was great.
Yeah, cool. Well, anyone, just while we're on the Canadian subject, there's a really cool documentary on Canadian tattoo history. I think it's called Hold Fast, Stay Gold, and I think they're up to about 9 episodes now, and they talk through from the beginning. And Trevor McStay worked over there for quite a while. He's in some episodes, so it's really cool. So if anyone wants something to do in lockdown, Google Hold Fast, Stay Gold. So
cool.
And Matt Curzon's living over there now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is in Calgary, I think.
Nice.
I think like partners from there.
When the world sort of opens up, where's on your convention hit list of places you want to go or countries you want to visit?
Convention wise, I don't really know. Look, I kind of I don't really know. I just sort of probably see what is kind of available. But it'd be cool to, I guess, go like anywhere really. Like after all of this sort of time, but like I had a trip planned to go to Japan in May last year, and obviously that got cancelled. So I think I'd probably going back to Japan would be pretty cool. Like just
nice.
Quickly as again. But I think it's going to come down to where you're able to go.
Where you're allowed to. Yeah. I know, like we regularly ask each other in the shop, like, you'll play a game, what's the first country you'll go to when we can? And like, for me, I'd like to go to Vietnam and see my brother over there. He's been there for 5 years. But then the next one is probably Korea. Like, I've never been to Korea before.
I've been to Korea.
Oh, wow. How was it?
Yeah. Awesome. Like we actually, I didn't go there in tattoo. I went over there, like, I was supposed to go to Japan and the tsunami happened. Mm-hmm. And so we had to, like, we were supposed to go, I think it was like 5 days, or maybe a little bit longer, like about a week after that happened. And we kind of were like, oh, we've got this time off, we may as well go. And I was just going with 2 mates just to kind of like go over and have a bit of fun and sort of just tour around sort of thing. And the sort of airline just said, well, like we're not going to give you money back, but you can kind of use it to go somewhere else. And we were like, oh, where do we go? And we just sort of went, I probably wouldn't go to, at the time would have gone, probably wouldn't go to Korea. Let's go to Korea, because I wouldn't get, none of it wasn't on any of our list kind of thing. And so we had like sort of like a few days to kind of like prepare for this trip, and we just sort of landed there and had absolutely no idea what we were doing and where we were going, and sort of done the fly, and that was a really fun trip. That was cool. So we went to Seoul, and then caught a bus over to Jeonju, which is there's heaps of sort of temples and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then down to Busan.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Did you come across any tattoo shops? Because it's kind of illegal over there, isn't it?
It was pretty, yeah. Look, you'd see like flags or signs out the front saying tattoo school, like very similar to Japan. Like you see like a sign, and then it'll be a door, and it'll just be locked, and you can't get in there or anything like that. Like I didn't see any street shops that I walked into while I was over there, but I did see tattoo signs. But yeah, the one that I did walk into, I think it was late at night, and it was obviously still open, but it was different. But you couldn't just walk in there. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah. But I mean, that was quite a long time ago too. So
yeah, cool. We've just had Alex Rusty say hi, and King of Clippers is like, hello guys. So I know you're into your motorbikes and stuff, and they seemed, I'm pretty sure Geordie rides. Is that correct?
Yeah, Geordie's got a W650, and I've got a wide glide.
Yeah, nice. Because there seems to be like a bit of a scene in Melbourne, like, Nate from last night that's building Melody's bike, and, obviously Mayo's got a couple of bikes. There seems to be a bit of a scene of tattooers down there, maybe a bit more than Sydney. Is that fair to say?
I think you're talking about four guys or three guys that I'm close mates.
So you're definitely not a gang.
Yeah, with the rubber glides, they had this amnesty over, we took our bikes over on the Spirit of Tasmania with me, Geordie, Nate, a few other guys as well. Went over to Tasmania and rode around there for a few days, and
that's cool.
That was pretty cool. But yeah,
it's supposed to be beautiful roads in Tassie.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite similar to New Zealand, but a bit more hectic, I reckon. Yeah, from where I'm from in New Zealand, anyway.
Yeah, nice. Hey, considering you've you started your tattoo career here in Melbourne, in Australia. I know you've gone back and done conventions. Have you gone back and done guest spots in New Zealand?
Yeah, I got before COVID, I was trying to I was going back there 2 or 3 times a year, and so I'd usually go and work like Sam Carter is one of my best mates. She's got a shop in Havelock North, and it's just probably one of the most beautiful tattoo shops I've ever been to.
Wow.
Besides, not even besides, it's comparable to Insider in Edinburgh. It's on this highway, and it's this old Spanish looking kind of shop front that overlooks a kind of lake, and there's mountains in the background. And it's
postcard stuff.
But yeah, fully postcard stuff.
Yeah.
I always go there. I went and hung out with. I went over there in May just recently. I've guest spotted with Hamish at his new shop in the centre of Auckland. I'll go hang out with I'm from sort of Rotorua and Tauranga, and I'll go guest spot with Norton Hollows at Hollows Inc. in Mount Maunganui. Sacred guys too. I was whenever I'm over there, I just try and
do a little tour.
Yeah, I've got a lot of clients too that I sort of love going back, and family obviously, and seeing everyone. So
yeah, cool, awesome. So mate, we got about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to sort of we'll sort of start to sort of end it up. But do you have any merch available at the moment, or any prints? Do you have a big cartel or anything like that?
I had a bit of stuff, but I haven't printed my. I was actually supposed to do the Brisbane convention, but obviously wasn't able to get up there.
Yeah, same.
So I've got some stuff being printed that I've got to go and pick up. That will be on my big cartel. But other than that, it's going to Print Cult. Getting they've got this because Geordie and I do we've put on Joy of the Orient.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us about those, because they've been quite successful. I think you've done 2 now.
We've done 2 of them, and the whole thing is just getting tattooers that regularly kind of paint, and guys like Alex Rusty and heaps of people were like, well, I just saw his name there, so I said,
Yeah.
obviously yourself. It's
Yeah,
just
myself
like,
and Som, we were lucky enough to be in the last one as well, which was cool.
Yeah, just like every year we kind of just pick a bunch of people, and like the original guys who go, yeah, do you want to do it or don't want to do it? And yeah, we just kind of try and put something on, and like it's heaps of fun to do, and we do it in a way that it's like we try and get sort of sponsorship or support from other things to kind of counteract the cost of it, and because like we're not making any money off anything, but it's just to kind of have a bit of fun and have a bit of a party, and it usually like coordinates perfectly in time with Geordie's birthday. And
how convenient. Nice.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I was sort of thinking the other day about maybe sort of organising another one of them for maybe in summertime or something this year or next year. We'll sort of figure out how we go. Cool.
Well, hopefully, there'll be a convention in Melbourne later in the year. By all accounts, just looking at the one in Brisbane this last weekend, it was successful. So I think, each, Melbourne and Sydney, when they kick off again, I think they're going to be super busy. People are just going to be craving, stuff to do and be around people and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think it'll be good. So with the merch you're getting done, what are they? T-shirts or hoodies or?
So these are all prints.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just prints from like last sort of like small stuff. I actually haven't really painted that much over the last sort of year, but I kind of like I sort of started now, just going on. Maybe I should sort of do something, but with docs. All
right, mate. So I'm going to give you like this. You're the second time I've done this. It's like a new little like funny segment at the end where I'm just sort of asking sort of some questions. People get to know a bit more about you. So, what's your favorite music or favorite band?
That's hard, eh? I listen to anything from like metal, like Integrity and stuff like that, to hardcore, and it goes as far as country music too.
Yeah, nice. So your usual tattoo shop style, like a real wide spectrum.
Yeah, the tattoo shop definitely is a wide spectrum. I guess probably on high rotation is like Graveyard is pretty high up there. And
cool. Yeah. Gina Bauman's just said Sublime.
Yeah,
cool. All right. What's one of your favorite drinks? Alcoholic drinks. Asahi, nice.
Oh, Asahi or Furphy or
yeah, nice. All right. What's your favorite bar? And this is like shouting out local industry. What's your favorite bar to drink at, or one of them?
I think probably there's the Merry Creek Tavern, which is down the road from me and Westgarth. Always go down there, or after work we'll go into the Labour. But the other one, I guess, would be Paradise Alley in Collingwood.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. So Nate's just said Ben loves Queen. What's your favourite Queen song?
Fat Bottom Girls.
Mate, is there any other? And then what's your favourite restaurant?
I reckon Kumo in the Japanese restaurant on Lygon Street.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. And these are like a bit of shout outs as well. What's your favourite motorbike shop?
My favourite motorbike shop?
Yeah.
Camberwell Cycles.
Nice.
Campbellfield Cycles.
Yeah, cool. All right, and then what's your favourite tattoo shop? In Australia and then overseas?
In Australia, I don't know. There's too many.
Yeah. What about overseas?
Overseas,
too many again.
Like Insider Tattoo, Insider Tattoo in Edinburgh. Man, Edinburgh was a cool city to go to, and that shop was like pretty beautiful and just like a nice place to work at. So
yeah, okay, cool, awesome. What's your go-to favorite takeaway meal?
It's got to be a burger or something, I guess.
Nice. What's your favorite color T-shirt to wear?
Oh, black. Funny, yeah, black.
What's your favorite food to cook at home?
I don't fucking cook, eh?
Pasta?
Tacos.
Tacos are good. Yeah, nice.
Tacos. Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite brand of motorcycle?
Got to be Harley.
Nice. All right. What's your favorite country?
New Zealand.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite convention?
A little bit. The ones I've done, like it'd be close, like even first of like Montreal and New Plymouth for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I've never made to New Plymouth, but it's on the bucket list. That's for sure. So
yeah, I think this is like, I think last year was supposed to be their 10th year, and like so they're doing it this year, kind of thing. So, but you know whether we'll be able to get over there or not, like you know.
Yeah,
it's a fun one to do. You know, it's a small town. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
All right. What's your this is a controversial one. What's your favorite vaccine?
I can't get the blood clot one because there's blood clots in my family. So.
Oh, there you go. So Pfizer.
It's got to be Pfizer.
Have you ever had any experience with Pfizer products in the past?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, cool. We know what your favourite type of dog is.
Yeah.
Opie?
Yeah, Opie.
Oh, mate, look at that. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, who's, and this is a hard one as well, who's like one of your favourite tattooers?
Johann Svan, I think, is probably one of my favourite. Like, it is a hard one. There's so many people that, like, you know, and also like people that are mates. So you learn more if your mates probably don't do the sort of similar stuff that you do. But they sort of, you know, that's a real hard one. But I mean,
Johann's amazing, mate. He's, you know, instantly recognisable. He's off on his own tangent, man. It's wild. And this is another one. Like, what's one of your favourite artists in general? Like, not tattoo related. That could be, for example, when I say artists like that, like it could be a chef, it could be a graffiti artist, it could be a painter, it could be someone that builds motorcycles.
Yeah, it's a hard one. May would be stuff I wouldn't say, but
yeah.
James, I really like James Jean. It's kind of that's probably harder, but the hardest out of all the Christians.
I'll put you on the spot, so you know, it's it is a hard one. So, what's sort of like a rough wait time for you at the moment, and what's the best way for people to contact you and get tattooed?
Best way to contact me is obviously through Instagram, like Benny Bone. My wait, I only book myself for about a month at a time. I find it's like, you know, I book one appointment per person, and I find that's a lot less stressful for me, and also it makes it easier for people to kind of, you know, obviously things come up in life, and you know, if you've got a heap of appointments, they sort of, you know, need to move and stuff, it makes it harder. So I usually I book myself a month at a time. So
cool. I remember talking to you about that, and it's a cool method. So with that, like say I'm booked in to get my back done by you, we do an outline, and I want to get tattooed every month. What's the process then? Do you contact them, or do you just rebook them on each appointment?
No, so whenever you finish your appointment, I just book you in another one, and I usually keep it to, like, you know, about a month at a time. So it might blow out to sort of 6 weeks or 7 weeks sometimes, but it's like it just sort of stays around that. Like, if I kind of keep it that way, you know, like And that way also, like, when people kind of come to me and say, "Oh, I want to get something new," they don't have to wait a long period of time. Like, because you know, your ideas change and you maybe lose a bit of passion for it. You know, if you have to wait too long. I think that's just it's just easier for me anyway. Like,
I like it. I think it's a really cool method. You know, and like, again, you know, when we were able to travel, you could probably plan your year out a bit better as well, as far as holidays, and you know, you got more freedom.
If something comes up that you want to do, you don't have to sort of move a bunch of appointments. It's, you know, you just sort of you just do the best you can. Like,
cool.
Not,
Give us a quick shout out. Who are you working with at Tattoo Magic?
So it's me, Geordie, and Tennille, Olivia Brewman, Owen Williams.
Yep.
And there's this like guest artist that turns up every now and then called Sean Jackson. He's usually in the mountains somewhere with Marshall fucking hunting deer or something.
Yeah,
like
amazing.
Having cuddles.
Mate, killer crew. All right, Benny, mate, I really appreciate taking the time out with us tonight and everything. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it too, man. Thanks heaps.
Yeah, no drama, mate. I look forward to having a beer with you in the future when we can see each other in real time.
For sure, man. Thanks heaps, eh?
All right, mate. Thanks, everyone. See you guys soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.
Cheers, Benny.